What's going on, YouTube family? Today we're going to be talking about how tariffs are affecting the automotive industry. Since the president announced that they'll be placing tariffs on all vehicles manufactured overseas along with parts, the automotive world set itself on fire. People were freaking out saying that a $30,000 car is now going to cost $50,000, a $200 brake job is now going to cost $2,000. But since the tariffs have taken place, there's been several months, and we're going to talk about what's actually changed and what the numbers are showing. So let's go ahead and start off with new car sales and prices. Now, when the tariffs were first announced, dealers tried to take advantage of this. I'm sure you guys have seen the memes, pre-tariff pricing, post-tariff pricing, and they would change the car, several thousands of dollars just to scare people into buying cars. But guess what? Americans didn't fall for it. The demand was simply not there. People would rather just wait. And as little by little, dealers tried to raise their prices, they fell right back down to earth. There wasn't that big of a demand. Along with that, cars are already overpriced. Now, since 2025, the tariffs have been in place, a total price of 1.26% has gone up when it comes to vehicle pricing across the board, which is actually typically lower than usual. So this is a good thing. So it really didn't affect the automotive pricing. So with all that being said, did this benefit any American manufacturers? Unfortunately, no. So for the last few years, American auto manufacturers have been stating that they are going to stop making economy cars and minivans and focus solely on trucks and SUVs with higher trim levels. Why is that? Because they can make more profit, make less cars, and have less issues. And because of this, all these other manufacturers that are basically being squeezed by tariffs are figuring out ways to become more competitive, more affordable, and compete with options. Now, when it comes to the economy car segment, which is something we really need in America, because remember, back in the day, even when I was in high school, you could buy a brand new car for under $10,000. Now you can't. You can't even buy a new economy car for under $23,000. I think the last one now is the Mirage at $22,000. It's not an American-made vehicle. So tariffs did slow down the fact that manufacturers overseas were going to raise prices. But at the end of the day, manufacturers over there just ate the actual tariffs and kept pushing cars out here. But it's the greed of the American manufacturers is what's going to cost them market share because everyone else is stepping in to provide affordable cars. So let's talk a little bit about automotive parts and how the tariffs actually affected them. Now, as somebody that buys, fixes, and sells cars, I had a definite interest in this particular segment. Now, during the pandemic, I saw prices absolutely skyrocket. When it came to like aftermarket body panels, like a fender, I'd pay $110 for it. Now they were selling for over $300. A set of brake pads were $19. Now they're $35. A used motor I used to buy for $500-600. Now we're selling between $1,800 and $2,500. So the automotive parts market absolutely exploded compared to the actual car market itself. So I thought that tariffs would only exacerbate this issue and make parts more expensive. But guess what? It actually had the complete opposite effect. Now, after talking to parts manufacturers as well as parts wholesalers, they both shared their stories and they were very similar. When it came to part manufacturers, they were so terrified of the tariffs, they actually called out to their vendors and said that they are going to eat the cost of the tariff. Not only that, they were going to lower their prices, and if you ordered more parts, they would give you a discount. When I talked to my parts wholesalers and asked them, what it was like going out there and buying parts from these guys, and they basically confirmed it. If you ordered like 1 million brake pads, they would give you an extra $1 off each brake pad that you ordered because of these large orders. And on top of that, they were offering pre-sale discounts, which means that usually these part manufacturers go every quarter to buy parts from the vendors. And as they run through these parts, they just order more. But if they actually send a contract saying, hey, we're going to buy, instead of, 1 million brake pads this quarter, we're going to do 1 million this quarter, 1 million next quarter, and 1 million after that, they would give them additional discounts to make sure that they would secure their futures because they all thought that American manufacturing would basically take over and take all their jobs. So now that this has happened, not only did it bring down the prices for automotive parts, but if you call a lot of places, there's always something in stock now, which is actually kind of shocking. So let's talk a little bit about high-end ticket items. Now, I have a few manufacturers I work with that sell luxury and exotic car parts and some other high-end ticket items. And 2 of them out of UK, one's out of Poland, one's out of Ukraine, and the other group is out of China. So when I talk to the European countries, I'm like, how are you guys doing with tariffs? How is it affecting you? And their answers actually shocked me. They said that when the tariffs were announced, a lot of their local vendors that they get their materials from and some of their parts actually reached out to them and said that they're going to be dropping their prices to help them out because they were so worried about going out of business. And because their vendors did that, it gave them an opportunity to basically lower their prices so the tariffs did not affect their actual sales price of the things they were selling overseas. And so I was like, that's great. So you're not losing any money. It's not costing you anymore. They're like, no, we're actually selling more units as of this year compared to last year. So that was a really surprising thing that I saw from the Ukraine side. Now, when it comes to China, theirs was a little bit more crazy. So this company that I've been working with for over 10 years is a father and son group out of China. Now they specialize in high-end composite manufacturing. They make parts for airplanes, helicopters. They even make some really crazy carbon fiber jacuzzi tubs, which is insane. But what I mostly buy from them is exotic car body kits. Now, their carbon fiber work is absolutely flawless and it's the best I've ever seen. I just recently purchased a body kit for a Rolls-Royce Cullinan that I'm going to be doing here on the channel that we're going to be updating the facelift on and making it look like a 2025. Now, the reason why I buy from them is because everything fits perfectly. It comes with all the bolts, all the brackets. You don't have to trim and shave. If anybody's ever bought a body kit, they know that it costs $500 for a bumper, but costs you $500 in body work to make the thing fit. This literally bolts up into place. No problems, no headaches. Now, when they heard that the tariffs were coming out, they freaked out. A lot of their neighbors literally closed up shop right when they heard this because right now China is struggling. They're in a downward spiral and the tariffs are really affecting them. And so because of this, a lot of their competition kind of disappeared overnight. So to make sure that they didn't have any problems, they decided to cut off all their brokers and only focus on the premium kits and making sure that their customer relations and their parts were top notch. So this way they can withstand the storm. And little did they know that their business was actually going to boom. Now, in China, it's really bad for people to take a picture of your cool stuff and turn around and sell it as their own. This is something that's very, very prevalent. And the manufacturers around them were basically trying to sell the same high-end kits that they were, but much lower quality for the same price or if not more. So because these guys went out of business, they actually saw an uptick when it came to sales. Another thing that helped their sales was the fact that they wanted to take customer relations into their own hands, so they stopped selling to brokers. And they said this had a tremendous effect when it came to their bottom dollar. Now, if any of you guys have ever bought a body kit or something off of eBay, more than likely it is not the manufacturer you're buying it from. How it works is there is basically, I'm going to use money for this, there is the company that sells the kit. So there's the manufacturer, and then they sell it to, let's say, a broker that finds people locally in China or find people overseas. Well, they got to make their cut. And then from there, let's say that this broker finds somebody in America that wants to sell it. Well, they're going to want their cut. So there's another couple bucks. And then they sell it to you. So there's another bucks that they're going to make on top of that. So by the time this manufacturer sells this kit here in America, there's 4 or 5 people in the way trying to get their cut. And this has a big, profound effect. Now, this body kit that I bought was $15,000 for this Rolls Royce. I found a similar kit and the manufacturers that were selling their kits because I reversed searched the Google image they sent me and saw these guys were selling this kit for $30,000 out of LA. Now, just for fun, I decided to call these guys and be like, hey man, I see you're selling this kit for 30,000 bucks. And he's like, yeah, it's the best quality. The carbon fiber is flawless. There's no body work for the bumpers. You just plug them right in, sand them, and you're good to go. Not extensive cutting, chopping. We have all the internal grill pieces, all the bolts, all the brackets. It's the best kit in the market. And so I kind of laughed and I was like, oh, well, do you have it in stock? Yeah. We manufacture them right here in the United States. It's like, great. I'm in Las Vegas. I can drive there tomorrow. Can I pick up a kit? And of course he said, no, there's no kits in stock. We have to make them. I'm like, okay, well, how long does it take you to make? Oh, well, it's going to take us a few days. I'm like, cool. I was like, well, I'm a YouTuber. Can I actually film you guys doing the process? Just trying to get this guy to admit that he's full of crap. And make a long story short, there's so many of these guys out there that are doing this. So every time you see a car or a body kit or some sort of tool that's being for sale on eBay, more than likely 4 or 5 people are touching it before you get it. So I was pretty blessed enough to deal with these guys directly. And now that these guys are basically cutting out all the middlemen, you're going to see a lot of these cheap, crappy body kits disappear overnight. And this is a good thing because now only the quality kits and the quality companies will stay around. This will ultimately help China, but also help the US because whoever's left standing actually builds good stuff and has direct access to the manufacturers. So if you're missing a part or having issues, you can get those parts. Because if anybody's ever ordered a body kit off of eBay, it's an absolute nightmare. 9 times out of 10, it's a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. It never even fits right. Or if you do get a good one, like I purchased one, it was some kit, I can't remember the name of it, but it was for a 720 McLaren. We put it on there and it was missing so many of these little tiny carbon fiber pieces. And without those pieces, the car wouldn't go back together. And so after calling this guy for months, so we went from the guy we're talking to eBay, probably to the broker that he bought it from, back to the broker he got it from in China, and then back to the manufacturer. So it took all these, telephone games back and forth for 3 months to get these parts at an additional cost of like $2,000, which shouldn't have happened because we covered ourselves, but I'm sure somebody wanted to make money somewhere along the lines. So when it comes to tariffs affecting the automotive market, overall, it hasn't been bad. Has the prices gone up? Technically, yes, a few percentage points. Did it affect supply? No. Did it basically destroy the industry? Definitely not. I think this is putting America in a right position to get parts cheaper and hopefully bring back more manufacturing to the United States. All this has taught me is that at the end of the day, if you're patient, wait till the dust clears, and still keep your relationships up with your vendors and your people, everything's going to work out in the end, because at the end of the day, everybody wants to make money. But I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at Lucky Lopez. If you have any questions, please put in the comment section below. I'll try to answer everything as much as I can. SEMA is just 40 days away, so I'm going to have some really fun build videos of the 6x6, the Scion, also the Rolls Royce that we just talked about that we got the body kit for. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe and like, and we'll see you guys next video.